All right, so we have two questions, right? Who's going to go? You going to ask the first one and me answer it? You
Yeah.
want me to ask the first one and you answer it?
Yeah, I'll answer the first one.
You'll answer the
Yeah.
first one?
Either way. Yeah.
All right, so the first one is, what is the dumbest thing that you've ever done that is appropriate to share?
And we're doing this now.
Yeah,
We're live now.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
What the dumbest thing?
A lot
It's
of
okay if you want to start with just a series of dumb things to work up.
yes. Many dumb
Yeah, I know.
things.
Me too.
Man,
the
if
dumbest?
if I went back to middle school and high school and college,
Yeah,
there's not enough time.
there's,
There's
you
not
know,
enough time.
I've got 2 seasons in my life, and I could pick about anything that I did in either one of those
Uh-huh.
that would. It doesn't matter what you pick on any given day. That would be the dumbest thing at that point.
All right, this is one dumb thing
All right.
that I've done as an adult and as a dad.
Okay.
We took our kids to Disney World, and that was not dumb. That was a lot of fun. And we went with another family. Took up our nephews and nieces. We all went to Disney World. We were staying side-by-side rooms, and we had the bright idea of leaving our kids fell asleep. And we thought, let's leave them here. They'll never know we're gone, and let's go to a restaurant and eat. So we left them there, asleep.
All asleep. How old were they?
They were young.
How young?
They must have been, they were in grade school, so second and fourth grade, first and
Okay,
third
so
grade.
10 and 8 years old, somewhere
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
And what were the other kids? How old were they?
about the same age.
Okay.
Maybe a year younger than that.
All right. So you've got a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and they're all asleep.
In Disney World,
In Disney.
Uh-huh.
They're all asleep.
people all over the nation are staying there
Okay.
at the resort,
Uh-huh.
and we leave them in their room,
Okay.
unsupervised.
Okay. Well, they're asleep.
They're asleep, and they are good sleepers.
Yeah. So you're either going to sit in the room and watch them sleep and have to talk real quiet,
Right.
or they're asleep. We'll go to dinner.
Yes.
Okay.
We left them unsupervised alone in the two rooms and go to dinner and get back, and none of us have keys to the room. So we're knocking like crazy on the doors trying to wake them up. They're not waking up. Other guests in rooms by us are opening their door to see what all the commotion is about.
Okay.
We finally get into one room, but they decide they did wake up. I maybe got scared, all got together in one room, and then all fell asleep again in one room. So we got into the one room that was empty. This other room we had no access to. We're calling the resort people, the management, to come and unlock the room. They take forever to get into the room. I go out on the balcony. Up on the porch guardrails.
Yeah.
Step over from my guardrails over to their guardrail
Okay.
room, thinking, well, maybe that back door is unlocked. It's not. So now I'm either stuck on their porch, or I have to risk getting back on my porch and going back. Finally, we're on that porch where they're sleeping, and management comes, breaks in, because they had that lock at the very top where a key
wow.
won't even let you in. So they had to break into the room. Again, all the guests around us.
So even if you had a key, you open the door and clink,
Right.
the little chain stops.
Right. And we're yelling, Lacey, wake up. Nothing. Nothing. This is, now we're at midnight, 1 o'clock.
I'm feeling better about my answer, by the way. I don't think I've ever done anything this bad.
Finally got in the room, and they had to fix the door the next day, but all was well.
You got in at 5 o'clock.
Oh, no, we got in probably about 1 o'clock, 1:30.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. So finally it's 1:30. You get to sleep at 2:30, but now you have kids who have been sleeping all night, so they want to get up early and go
Sure.
see the Disney.
Well, it's Disney
stuff.
World. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
go to one of the parks.
Oh man. Yeah, that's dumb.
That was dumb.
That's dumb. But is it the dumbest?
I'm waiting. That I've done?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I can't share.
Some other
I
stuff?
won't share.
Yeah.
I guess I could
Yeah.
share.
No, I get it.
I won't
totally
share
get it.
everything.
I totally get it. Totally get it. I've got a lot I wouldn't share either. The dumbest thing I've ever done. Well, the dumbest thing I've ever done was starting at probably 12 or 13. I started dipping snuff. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Just starting that, because I still struggle with that as an addiction today, 40 years later, and that feels pretty dumb. At the time, it was Walt Garrison and I.
How did it all start? Did somebody give it to you at school?
Yes, we moved. We moved from Dallas to Rowlett. Rowlett was a country place. We had 5 acres, so now we had horses. And so I was the cowboy all of a sudden. I was the cowboy. Mm-hmm. And so I learned how to saddle the horses and how to take care of them. I fed them every day, and I was the cowboy. And some kid at school, after school, walked down to the local little store there, and they didn't think about carding anyone. You just walked in and bought it. And so I bought Skoal and...
On your own? Just...
Uh-huh. Well, a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
But he bought his, I bought mine. And it just, while I was alone, I would learn I would ride a horse and dip snuff and spit all over.
Well, you're a cowboy now.
I was a cowboy. That's what cowboys did.
Right.
So that's what I did. And it was great. And my parents didn't find out for about 2 summers. And 2 summers I was working in a thing for my dad, and I was doing a bunch of tree cutting and brush clearing. And he walked up, and I had a big chew in my mouth. And he walked up, I remember, and he said, "What do you got in your mouth?" I said, "Well, something I wouldn't have in there if I'd known you were coming." But that was the dumbest thing, because it just had, for me, the dumbest things have the longest implications, right. And that was the dumbest.
When'd your mom find out?
I don't know. I don't know.
She just found out.
I don't know when he told her. I never did, but I'm sure he told her, and they probably from that point on knew. I don't know. I mean, it was not anything that I did in the house.
Did they ever try to make you stop or do anything to kind of curtail that?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did, but I don't remember that, because I don't remember doing it in front of them, right? I don't remember ever saying, "Hey, I'm going to go outside." I just would go outside, or I'd, walk around the block, or I'd stay up late after they went to bed, or I always worked around our house, so I would mow the yard or whatever. And so, it was just something I either didn't know or wasn't mature enough to think through the consequences. No. That 40 years later I would still struggle with that, and it isn't good, it isn't healthy, I don't like it, it's all that stuff. But
did all your friends do it?
A lot of my friends did it.
Yeah.
But it was accepted enough that if they didn't, I wasn't the outcast. It wasn't marijuana.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't something that a subset did and you kind of knew, oh, those are the bad kids.
Right.
It was just a normal thing for some of us, and some of us did and some of us didn't.
Yeah.
So
I started that in high school, and really it's not because all my friends did it. Every one of them did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
you may not remember this, but that's how we met.
Yeah, that's right.
It is. It is. It's how we met.
At Super Duper grocery store.
No. We were in Abilene, and I had gone to lunch, and after lunch we were walking. I was walking down the sidewalk with my friend Timbo, and I don't remember else. And you and Chris, it was either you and Chris or you and Danny, were walking toward us. And as you were walking, I was getting ready and put a dip of snuff in, and you got to me and said, "Hey, can I borrow some of that?" I said, "Sure." So I handed it to you. That was the first day I remember meeting you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So quite a inglorious.
Yes, what a launching pad to a remarkable friendship that has lasted for years.
Well, out of weeds, flowers can grow.
Yes.
Yeah. But I've done a lot of other dumb stuff. I mean, when I was in high school, I I worked at night stocking shelves. It's another thing we have in common is the whole grocery
Yeah.
store business. And I would say we were on the low end of that business model, by the way. But I had a great job stocking shelves at night. I'd go to work at 10 o'clock. I'd work till 7 o'clock the next morning. And I did that during the summer at high school. But the reason that was so great is that at 7, I could go home and sleep till noon. And at noon, I could go to the pool where all the girls were. And about 3 o'clock, I could go play golf. And I played golf until 5 or 6. And then I'd go home, shower up, change clothes, and go to work. It was the perfect job.
Yeah.
And one morning I had done that. So the problem was that sleep may or may not actually happen. And so there were times where you were just totally sleep deprived. And I drove home one morning in my mother's car, and all I know is that I had a very nice nap driving home. And when I woke up from the nap, I had hit 2 curbs and all 4 tires were flat. All 4. Now, if one tire is flat, get out the jack, change the tire. If all 4 tires are flat, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything such thing as a cell phone in those days. So
Right.
you put on the hazards and you walked down and put money in a phone and you called home and said, Mom, I don't know what to do, but all 4 tires are flat. And you always called Mom. You never called Dad.
Right.
Because Mom was cool. Mom would figure out A, what to do, and B, how to tell Dad. And somehow she did, because he showed up and said, this is what I think the words he used were, this is the dumbest thing that you have ever done. Which is a good answer to this question.
Great answer to that question.
He didn't know I'd already done some dumber things, and there were many more to come.
Yes.
Many more.
I was in my mom's station wagon at a gas station putting $5 in because that's all I had. And started the car back up afterwards, and instead of putting it in drive to drive off, I put it in reverse and rammed Major into the car behind me, who was also getting gas. Oh. And I had wrecks like that were just dumb moves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a sickening feeling.
All right, here's a dumb one I did at a gas station. I had just had a guy who had told me, if you get gas and you get gas at the pump, I didn't know this, but there's a breakaway thing on that gas pump because people will sometimes pull off and boom, it breaks the little nozzle off of the hose and he
Right.
said, I didn't know that, but I was at a gas station and this guy drove off and he drove off with that nozzle in his car. I thought, well, that's the dumbest thing ever. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I'm putting gas in my car. This is about a year ago. Putting gas in my car in a hurry and boom, get it finished. Okay, get the receipt, get in, boom, drive off. And here, come and look in the rearview mirror. And I have pulled the gas tank thing out. It is broken away, and I look, and I'm the doofus that has the gas in the pump in my car and a hose laying on the ground. So I went inside of 7-Eleven or wherever. And I said, "Okay, I'm the guy this week that is just dumber than ever." He said, "Oh, it happens all the time. Just leave it on the ground. We'll come out and fix it."
Wow. Nice.
A lot of people are dumber than me.
Yeah, I wish our parents were like that. Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
just
no
leave
problem.
it laying there. We'll come out and fix it.
Yeah. So the message is really just don't do dumb stuff.
Don't do dumb stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do dumb
Cool.
stuff. That's a really good, important message to teach our kids. Don't do dumb stuff.
Don't do dumb stuff. Right.
Very important.
All right.
You know what? This is a great time to actually introduce yourself now that you have
Oh, yeah. That's right.
All right.
the story.
Great. So I'm Greg. I'm Greg, and I'm dumb. Greg Beecham is my name. I'm married to the lovely Liz is her name. We've been married 34 years, and we've got 3 great kids, 3 great in-law kids, and 3 unbelievable grandkids with 1 on the way. So, life is good. I hunt a little bit. I play golf a lot, and I mean a lot. a lot of golf. I play more golf than should be played. I do. I really do.
I'm Keith. I'm married to Betsy. Keith Luttrell, married to Betsy Luttrell, who is Greg's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've known each other a long, long time. I've got 2 kids, Lacey and Lane. Lacey is a nurse at St. Jude's in Memphis. Lane's a campus pastor at Arkansas State in Jonesboro, Arkansas. They are married. Lacey married Hunter Goff, and he is an anesthesiologist in Memphis. And then Lane married Riley, who is a speech therapist or pathologist or something. She does speech stuff, and
Yeah.
she is great at it.
Yeah. I had a
So-
speech. I went to a speech pathologist when I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't say my R's.
Lane can say his R's.
Couldn't say them. So that's awesome unless your name is Greg. And then you can't even say your own name. So I was Greg for a long time and had to learn how to say Greg because that's my name. And
There you go.
I learned how to do it. You learn how to roll your tongue. You go, ooh. You roll your tongue. That's part of it. You got to learn how to put the tongue in just the right spot
Yeah.
to make the r sound.
R.
I know it's a hard, it's a
Yeah,
hard
it's a
sound.
hard
It doesn't come normal.
It's a hard one.
Half the world can't say it.
Yeah.
So there are lots of cultures that don't use the R sound because they just have never trained their tongue. But me, I have tongue training.
You have tamed your tongue.
I have. Bible
Way to
says
go.
to do that. Yeah.
Oh, you're very biblical. That's great.
Well,
They don't have kids. We don't have grandkids. They'll come, hopefully, if we're blessed in that way.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
Grandkids are awesome. They're
They
unbelievable.
come. We are enjoying the adult 6 because there's going to come a time when that won't happen, but who knows when that'll be.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll happen. It's
Yeah.
awesome when it does.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, so what advice would you give, Greg, we're going to do 3 different groups. Let's tackle what advice would you give to you at the age of 20?
At the age of 20, I would tell myself it's time to grow up. At the age of 20, it's time to become a man, quit playing around with all the stuff that I played around with at the age of 20. And at about, it's one thing to be a kid when you're 16. It's another thing. And subsequently, I grew up, but I was probably 24 or 25, which meant that at the age of 20, I did some things that could have been on the dumbest list. But it was just time to grow up, to become a man, to take responsibility for yourself and your body and your studies and your money, and take responsibility for other people around you and relationships, and just start being responsible. Take responsibility for stuff instead of just living life and letting things fall by the wayside. And I created a big wake of just destruction.
Yeah.
Because I was just still being a kid and didn't think there were any consequences to anything.
Yeah. I didn't realize when I was 20, I did later on, but I wish I would have. My advice to me would have been start thinking 5 years ahead. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? So as a 20-year-old, at some point I woke up, I think I was 22 or 23, and thought, okay, what in 5 years don't know if it happened, but I would want to be married. I would want to be in the career that I'm going to be in for a while. I will want to either be living on my own. At some point I started thinking that way. In 5 years, this is where I want to be. So what do I have to do now in order to get where I want to be 5 years from now?
Yeah.
So I wish I would have started that a lot. My grades would have been a lot better had I thought that earlier in life.
Yeah. And what's funny is you probably started that at 23 or 24. I think I grew up at 23 or 24.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's such a hard question. What would you tell a 20-year-old? It only takes 3 or 4 more years, but there's those years between the age of 20 and 24 are years that some people take amazing advantage of, and they are set up a lot better than those of us who wait. And it doesn't take much time, but that's a crucial stage of life.
Yeah, really is.
I know.
All right, what about you as a 30-year-old? What advice would you give?
I think I would tell 30-year-old Greg to take the amount of money that you're making and live on substantially less. Live in a smaller house, drive less expensive cars, cut entertainment. But I think I would tell a 30-year-old that it doesn't matter how much you make. Whatever that is, live on 60 to 70% and try to save 30 to 40%. Because you get my age, and at some point you want to be able to stop working, but you can't do that at 60 or 70 if you haven't started at some point earlier. And I think at 30 I thought, yeah, I'll start, and I subsequently did, but at 30 I thought, oh, I'll start saving, someday. But if I'd started at 30 and lived on 60% instead of 95%, it would reap tremendous dividends today. Now, we've never been independently wealthy, and we've just been middle to upper middle class kind of salary all my life. So if I were in a job that paid 10 times more, maybe that wouldn't have been as important. And if I had been in a job that paid half, I might not have been able to do it because you got to eat.
Yeah.
But I think we could have lived in cheaper houses, driven cheaper cars, spent less on food and other stuff, and saved a lot more money. And I wish that we would have.
Right.
That's what I'd tell myself at 30.
Yeah. I think I'd tell myself to enjoy the moment more, enjoy that particular age more. It seems like at 30 years old, I was trying to build and grow and get there, and many times wherever there is in your occupation, or to get my kids there in school, or to whatever, to get where I wanted to live for the rest of my life, to get there. And we spend so much of our time trying to do that I don't know if I enjoyed the moment as much as I possibly could have. To enjoy my friends, to invest in them, to have them pour into me. I think everybody by this time, really in their 20s too, but should be invested in the life of some kind of church and have a community life there, to enjoy that church community, to build those relationships that are Christian relationships and friendships. That's what I would tell myself, is to enjoy that moment where you are, rather than always trying to get to that next stage so fast that you're not enjoying it. You're spending all of your time trying to get to that next stage. And some of that may be okay, just because you're trying to provide for your family, you're trying to get to the place where you can be for a long time. And so some of that comes into play and needs to, but man, you've got to enjoy that moment.
It's a hard balance. It's a really hard balance between, and by the way, thank you for being over here and having the camera over there, because I had this salad for lunch. It was awesome. It was unbelievable. Spicy chicken salad. But right when he was talking, the camera was here, I had to belch so bad. And I thought, oh, I hope the microphone's not picking it up. And I thought, oh, I hope that doesn't stink and Nick's smelling it. So just really good timing. And I hope all of you were able to just...
That might be an answer to the first question.
What, the dumbest thing I've ever done? To belch in the middle of you talking?
Well, wouldn't it be great if that was the dumbest thing?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If yes. This would be so much easier if we knew that only guys were listening. Because once you let the ladies listen, then you have to be so polite about everything. And I'm trying to be polite, but where was I?
Balance.
It's a hard balance. It's a really hard balance when you're building a career and trying to create something for your family and build a family at the same time. Man, that's a hard one to navigate, because you want to. There's just, it feels binary to me. I can totally invest in my career and be successful there, or I can totally pour into my kids and be successful there. But to do both of those is a hard balancing trick that I don't know that I was prepared or wise enough to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that now because now that we have grandkids, I can feel that balance a lot better than I could as a dad, and I can see it better than I see it in either one of my sons, who are now in that stage of trying to figure out how to balance professional life and family life and all this stuff. One of them yesterday said, I've been a little depressed. I said, why? And he said, I think they've got one child, one on the way. I don't think I'm divulging any confidence here, but he said, I think it's just hit me that with the second child on the way, I am entering a season where I have a lot less me time. And I thought, yeah, you sure do. And it's going to last for 15 or 16 years where you feel like you have no me time. And then if you do it right, your kids leave the house and are on their own, and you've got your me time back, which is where I live now. It's why I play a lot of golf guilt-free today, because I'm enjoying all the golf games I didn't enjoy when my kids were their age, doing all that they did.
Yeah. All right, what about 40? We're both in our 50s, by the way, so we can reflect back.
I don't know. I had it together by 40. I really did. Honestly did. I've done really good since 40. It was up to 40 that I screwed everything up, but from 40 on, I've been all right. I think I would tell 20, 30, 40. I think I would tell every one of those ages that not only is it okay for Greg to not be in control, but as hard as Greg's going to try to be in control, Greg really isn't in control. I like control because it lets me have some kind of false notion that I can affect the future. And the fact is, I can't affect what you do. I can't affect what my wife does. I can't affect what my kids do. I can influence, but I can't affect it. And I feel like sometimes I lost my influence because I was trying to control. And if you're controlling, you're not influencing. And I would have told 40-year-old and 30 and 20, not 20. 20, I didn't know any better. But I would tell 40 and 30-year-old, just recognize you're not in control and be intentional about influencing what you think in your wisdom should happen rather than trying to manipulate it to happen. Because when I would manipulate something and it would happen, I would, at the end of the day, it wasn't happening because it was authentic and natural to happen. It was happening because I was manipulating it to happen. And so it wasn't as joyful. It wasn't what I thought it would be, right? Got what I want, but the payoff was not very good.
Yeah.
If you influence it and people do what I was trying to make them do, then it's fantastic because they're doing it of their own will, not being manipulated by me to do it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think at 40, I knew to be a leader, but there was something about turning 40, and I would tell all 40-year-olds the same thing. It's very similar to what you said, is it's time for you to lead. If you haven't led yet, it's time for you to lead now. To lead your spouse, to lead your kids. So much during their early years, our focus was on encouraging and building them up because we knew we had about 5 or 6 years to do that, and then they're off to school where they're going to be torn down for many years by some. But at 40, man, that's to lead in business, to lead your coworkers, to lead your family, to lead not just your personal family but extended family, not to control but to really lead and influence them. It's time for you as a man to step up and lead. And a big part of that is in church. Whether you're married or single, it's time for you to assume a position of leadership in church as well, where you're leading others into a relationship with Jesus Christ, or those that are in a relationship with Jesus Christ to lead them in their walk with Jesus Christ. And so when I turned 40, that's whenever, like, wow, okay, It's my moment to lead, and that's true for every man out there. I don't think, I know there's a gift of leadership, but the call to leadership is on everybody, and whether you feel like a leader or not, you do. People are watching you and doing what you do, and so it's time for all men to step up and lead.
Yeah, yeah, ladies too. It's
Yeah.
There's a sense in which I mean, you and I both live with strong, successful women as wives and daughters, and I don't know if it's probably stereotypical. I don't know, but what I've found in women who are great leaders is that that leading seems to come natural because they are truly leading. They are walking ahead and saying, "You come follow me," instead of the kind of leadership that I thought I was doing, which is stand up in a chair and say, "Okay, everybody go over there."
Right.
Right? That's leading. That's pointing.
Right.
But great leadership is just, I'm going over there. Let me build up enough influence, respect, and credibility with you that if I'm going over there, you'll go with me. That's true leadership.
Yeah.
Right? And so the women in our family do it really well. You do that really well.
You do too.
A couple of I think I've seen some men who are still pointing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had a thought on that.
Oh man!
I know.
Then I kept talking.
No, I got it. But I think in my 40s is when I had those sit-down talks with our family, saying, "Here's what our family's going to do." Not in a manipulative way, but the Luttrell family is going to do this.
Yeah.
Now your friends may be doing something else. Their families may be doing something else. Your people at church that you go to church with, they may be doing something else. For our family, and it wasn't coming from a pastor's position, it was from what I knew as a dad to do. This is what our family's going to do.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets some parameters and boundaries for our family, and to let them know the expectations too of our behavior as a family. This is what Luttrells do.
Yeah.
And so you may not want to go pick up pecans in that widow's yard. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's really good aspirational thinking too. It's just aspirational leadership to say, here's what. When you say that's what Luttrells do, what you're really saying is not that's what we do. You're saying that's who Luttrells are.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
you're leading out of identity of here's who we are. We're the kind of people who will go and pick up pecans in a widow's yard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what we do, but it's born out of who we are.
Right. That's
And
exactly
that's
right.
really great. That's good leadership.
Oh.
So. Okay, so the third question on here is
Oh boy.
what?
Go ahead.
There's not a third question on there.
We've used up our allotted time.
Well, folks, that's it for today. We're so glad that you've joined us here on another edition of Donuts for Dummies. What do we call this?
I don't know.
Nick, what we call this?
Unpolished.
Unpolished. Yeah, well,
Unpolished. Yeah.
You got that right.
Yeah.
We do unpolished better than anybody.
We need a segment on polish. That would get us out of character.
Yeah, well, we'll have to bring someone in.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, what are we doing now?
Oh, well, I guess that's it.
Can I burp out loud finally?
Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want.
Because I've been holding it in. We're going, just trying to.
Well, one thing is we love doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is a conversation you and I would have in our office
All
or
day.
in our living room or
All
golfing
day.
or whatever.
People
Just,
would have no idea how stupid our conversations are.
I know. They will now, I guess. All right. Well,
Yep.
be good.
Later.